it differently. Now we got to look at it differently. It becomes the history and the memory of movement of Europe, and it becomes the context of which the whole world uses itself. You go around looking for some Chinese search now. That was the system everybody had. What we call another name, peasants. Peasant blouses. You ever wore peasant blouses? Sure. Well, we're going to talk about what that means. Really? African people had those blouses on? Sure. Well, no, maybe not. I don't know. Clothing is a text. Beer maids. What is a beer maid? That's a whore. But well, what's a whore, Dad? A whore is a person who sells their labor for currency or some other form of value. Oh, kind of like a prostitute. Sure. Did they have prostitutes in Africa? They must have. Why? They have them in Europe, and we know that the European experience is universal. You see how silly this becomes when you start thinking about it? You can't understand little film unless you understand racial capitalism. You're going to find the way she moves through the world in Africa, you're going to find it in the West. This is not empowering. Girl power. Let me go become a powerful girl. The philosophy is insane. I'll be a man. I'll be a white man in this society. If a man say, touch my jacked up, feel all right up, I'm going to say, I'm going to make you deep throated. Black don't cook. In other words, I'm going to do what you do. Because you're going to do what he do. And together, we're going to make it together. I'm married to the mob. Best of them, worst of them. So she playing with her? Self-gratification, the ultimate goal of capitalism. Try to work to reproduce. Oh, hell no. They play with all I eat my friend. Do not go back to what we were talking about the other day, Chris Hedges, the philosophy of a decaying culture. Self-absorption, the ultimate expression of parochialism. I don't give a damn about nobody here right now having a fantasy. It's great. I don't care about none of y'all. Every one of y'all come out. How you going to help me gratify myself? What about society? What about society? I got a job. And what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas. What goes on in my house stays in my house. When they got locks on doors. Locks on doors. That's interesting. Well, go back to what you studied in the 5th grade. Enclosures. Remember that? The fences they put up to say this is my property. Private property, which proceeded and then marked the transition from feudalism eventually to capitalism in the stage that we know about. This is mine, my property, my money, my car. Racial capitalism. Why? Because you didn't get to have any of it. And then you decided that was its pursuit, but made what you wanted. The brutalism of hell, which is so much characterized expected of the bourgeoisie in the Middle Ages, was met in this second era of Western civilization by not the era of Greece and Rome, but the era that we're marking now, by parochialism of the what? State. Crazy. Wow. That's very powerful. That's very powerful. How do you make an entire state, meaning what? A broad spatial entity with an army and a navy and a flag and all this stuff. How do you make that whole state think in mindset like a town? I'll live America. Where is it start? No, I'm free. The whole country? No, this may vary, but you always. And I'm coming home. What are you doing? God bless America. What America? What are you doing that at? They're doing it at the imaginary Mayberry. It's going to drop in your mind everywhere. Your daddy from Kenya. I know, look at my people. Dude, they're from Springfield, Illinois. For real? Are you serious? Hey, try to election. I have a missile with it. They go down. Is a missile and a cool that do the same time? Sure. Is it Harvard or Yale? We're not having these schools that have the list of a school in LA, the list of the coolest phrases of the year. And one of the things that apparently just went by the boards was if you say something cool, you're supposed to say it's Obama. I know y'all know that. Yeah. You read about it. Anybody read about that? Yeah, read about that, right? So Obama. Go ahead. That's the 21st century expression of so evolved, man. Like black people, it's so cool. Let's continue. But the parochialism of the state now. Heckscher commented that, here's the quote, quote, the collective entity to peoples of the 16th and 17th centuries in Europe was not a nation unified by common race, speech, and customs. The only decisive factor for them was the state. Mercantilism was the exponent of the prevailing conception of the relationship between the state and nation in the period before the advent of Romanticism. It was the state and not the nation which absorbed its attention. Wow. Let's go back through that. The collective interest to peoples of the 16th and 17th century was not a nation unified by common race, speech, and customs. The only decisive factor for them was the state. Meaning what? It wasn't about, at that time, before the 16th, 17th century, it's not for these Europeans the idea that they're a collective entity. What is keeping them together? The state. And what is the state? Let's think about that. Without defining it, like going through the book, what does the state provide? A name comes with things. Protection, security, absolutely. You got the police, you got the army, you got the navy, whatever. What else? It has borders, it has physical borders. This is the state, this ain't the state. Right, you have some sense of security in that sense, absolutely. Anything else? Laws, you get driver's license. Your mail come on time. In other words, it gives you services. In exchange for what do you get these things? Taxes. In other words, you buy into it. This, the United States, is a state. It's not a nation. Never has. There's a lot of niggas here with driver's licenses that would not go across the street to hear the Dixie Chicks, much less Lee Weber, much less, and if it ain't your music, you don't want to hear it. Sometimes you hear it once. In other words, it's not a nation, it's an idea of commonality. The nation of Islam. Right? They got a national concept. The nation of Islam is not a state yet. It aspires to state status in terms of territory, but in terms of nation, I got it now. But in America, you got Muslims and Christians, and Buddhists, and people don't believe in any of those faith traditions. And they all got driver's licenses. Meaning what? They're all in the state. What he's saying here is that at one point in Europe, the state was the defining factor. What happened? Yes, sir. Let me do it very quickly. Nation. A nation is the idea of commonality, common blood, common language, common traditions. The word nation from nasi, from the Latin, meaning to be born, meaning part of a bloodline genealogy, literally. So sometimes instead of like, oh, I have sometimes say, I'm what part? I'm from Nigeria. Okay, what's your national group? By nation, I would say that instead of ethnic group, because I find that kind of, ethnic mean other than what? Other than Europeans. So, or some people say tribe. And I'm saying if you don't call the Zulus a tribe, you got to call the French a tribe. That's all. You all of them tribes, we don't use the word. But nation, you say I'm Europe. And even that will tell you a lot, doesn't it? I mean, the language you speak, or generally, because you got people who all say Europe who don't understand each other. A lot of Europe, millions. But yes, nation is more of an idea of bonding by cultural text and practice, meaning-making practice, movement and memories, which is a nation. That's why I say the United States is not a nation. I say, yes, it is. What? Well, we all speak English and we all know what French fries are. Everybody can order a pizza. That came from the Italians. The Manchos came from Africa. Y'all can have that. That's cool. And we know potato chips, and we got a red, white, blue flag, and we all go to the Olympics and say, okay. And everybody in the army fights because they love America. Oh, okay, well, there you go. See, a nation is like when the British attacked the Zulu, and everybody said, oh, hell no, and all the Zulus said, we'll kill you. Or, at the Howard Hampton game, somebody said, Howard, and all y'all. A nation is, I will fight for this. And now I want no money, I'm going to take all my clothes and punch you in the face, because I don't let them away when I get ready to whip you. Okay, that's a nation, it's a feeling. It's people in the United States that feel it for the United States. I guarantee you, most of